Hello and welcome back to Higher or Lower, a show brought to you by oddschecker, sponsored by Spreadex and Sporting Index. It's a new look panel today with me in the host seat with George gallivanting off to New York. So it's our pleasure, but you guys will enjoy it as much as we do. And we've got Leon here to my right. He is our oddschecker ambassador. Well, tell us a bit about what you do, Leon.
I am head of editorial content at Oddschecker, keen punter. So this is my forte. Excited to get going on the show.
Very good. Excited to hear your picks. And joined as ever by Jack on my left. All good with you?
I'm very good, mate. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, you?
All good, mate. Yeah,
Good.
both of our teams defeated by Wrexham in the last 7 days, but I suppose we'll just move on.
We'll move on.
We'll move on. Right, we're kicking off then in the Championship. We're going back to West Brom. West Brom host Leicester, and we're looking at the total goals market here. Midpoint of 2.5, 2.4 goals to sell, 2.6 goals to buy. 3, 2, 1. Oh, it's a full house. Lower. Jack, we'll start with you.
Well, let's try again. West Brom were on TV last Friday night when they against Middlesbrough at Middlesbrough. We all went lower then, and we were so close to winning. Late goal. I thought they showed little threat against Borough as well, so that looked like it was in the bag, really, to be fair, but not to be. Leicester last weekend were goalless against Coventry as well, and any side that can keep Coventry tight at this moment, like, they've had a great start to the season. Goals galore there. All I can see is another low-scoring affair in this one with those two. Leicester clearly showed some decent defensive processes in that. They kept Coventry to a 0.6 XG, so which does take some doing with the firepower that they've got. And when you look at West Brom across this season so far, this is where I've really drilled into it as far as what we're going to expect for goals. They rank 85th of the 92 English clubs in the top 4 tiers for expected goals against this season. Across those last 6 games, 0.8 per 90. So next to nothing at all. And when you look at their expected goals in their games, 85th of 92 as well, with an XG of 2.03. So super low. You look at home this season, 1-0, 1-1 and 0-1. And against not the best sides either, Blackburn, Portsmouth and Derby. 4 under, 2 over across the board. And for Leicester, it's exactly the same. 4 gone lower, 2 gone higher. One of those was Wrexham, and we know full well we can kind of draw a line through that form line, given that all their games are a bit bonkers.
Yeah, same for me, really. I've got this line hasn't gone under in any of the West Brom games at home so far this season, and I don't really see why this would be any different. Anything from you, Leon?
I like this Leicester defence in the Championship. I think it is potentially a lower half Premier League defence in the Championship. I think they can keep most teams out. And when betting on West Brom, I'm scarred by the fact that they went drawn 8 of 9 games last year, 5 of them being 0-0, and that has kept me staying away from West Brom, especially in the goals market. So yeah, firmly under here.
Nice.
All aboard the lower then in our first market of the day. Into the Premier League now. Early doors on Saturday, we're going to Brentford versus Manchester United. Looking at the total goal minutes market here with a midpoint of 156. That's the accumulated times of each goal scored in the game. 151 to sell, 161 to buy. Are we going higher or lower in Brentford, Manchester United? 3, 2, 1. Leon.
Ooh.
Well then.
Sitting on your own.
You're on your own, mate.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. For me, when I was looking at this game, I hate to say it, but it can go either way. I think it was either going to be a drab 1-0 to either team, or it's going to be a goals fest, as it was last year, 4-3 at the G-Tech. And 2 of the other 3 heads-to-heads have finished with 4 goals between these two since Brentford came back up. Also, the game that didn't finish with 4 goals was 1-1, and both goals were scored in the 90th minute plus. So that takes it over today's goal line of 156. And I like there to be goals again. We've just come back of Chelsea United, which was 2-1. If both teams had 11, I reckon that would have been another goal fest. And Brentford the same, played Chelsea 2-2. I think I like both attacks in this game. I can see goals.
Nice. Jack?
I just find these two sides really hard to call, so I don't quite know what to expect from them. I slightly disagree as far as Man United against Chelsea. I think Man United would have struggled to score against Chelsea if you'd have kept 11 on the pitch. Obviously, they had, for much of that game, the man advantage, or much of that first half, certainly the man advantage, and both goals kind of come from having a spare man. and they're not very good away from home. No winning 7 for United away from home. So Brentford, worst start to Premier League season. We talked about the history here, and I think Brentford are the side at the moment where you can go against what is generally the historical trends, and because no Thomas Frank in charge, Keith Andrews I'm still not convinced by. No Mbomo, no Wissa, all the goal threats gone. They're kind of looking to reinvent themselves a little bit. They've had the lowest amount of shots in the Premier League so far this season. So I just feel that they would look to probably nick this one, keep it a little bit tight. It's the early kick-off as well, so sometimes can be a little bit of a drab affair, the early ones. So, yeah, for me, I'm going with lower.
Yeah, me too. I don't think you can read too much into that Chelsea match and take much form away from that from Man United, because I agree with you. I think they would have really struggled to break them down. Obviously, I was quite bullish last week on Manchester United not getting the win against Chelsea, and they went and upset me. And I upset a few Man United fans on X, so they'll probably be waiting for my stance here. But Fernandes is their top scorer again. I've really not been impressed with Man United, particularly going forward. They've had the most XG in the league, granted, but they've only scored 4 goals from 10 XG. They're not putting away chances. And Mbomo, back against his old club, maybe he's going to look to get amongst the goals. He definitely will be looking to.
That's going to go one way or the other.
But can he?
He's either going to have a superstar performance, or he's going to have one of them ones that all the home fans are going to love. He's
complete blank. And I spoke to a Brentford fan earlier today, and I think they're going to set up 5-3-2. So that suggests to me they're setting up to keep Man United out rather than to take the game to Man United. I think Brentford offer pretty little going forward, so I'd almost rule out both teams to score here. Are Man United going to score multiple times and make up 156 on their own? No, in my opinion. Right, next, Forest versus Sunderland. We're going for the first match goal market at 36.5. So if you think there'll be a goal inside the first 36 minutes, you'll go lower, sell. Or if you think it will be after the 36th minute, then you would be going higher here. 3, 2, 1. Oh, Leon, you've gone on your own again.
Read the script.
What's going on here?
You fancy an early goal?
Here? I fancy an early goal. I think this bet completely changes with Ange and Nuno in charge. I think Nuno, fresh off a Thursday match, holds down the fort, wins 1-0, 70th minute goal. I think Ange completely changes the game. If you look at the 4 games since he's come in, goals in the Betis game, 15th and 18th minute, Burnley 2nd and 20th minute, 15th minute against Swansea and the 32nd against Arsenal, all landed beneath. I think they've got attacking talent who didn't play midweek, who are going to be fresh, and I can back them to concede a goal with Ange in charge at any point. So I'm taking the lower here.
Fair enough, Jack. Why is Liam wrong?
I'm taking that midweek European game into account, and do think that Ange coming back from that, I think he'd absolutely love to go deep into that Europa League, and I just think that there might be a hangover. Forest aren't used to playing European football and then going into the Saturday game as it is on this occasion. So only 1 league win. I'm still not convinced by Forest either. That came in on the match day 1. That was against the really poor Brentford side on that occasion. Lost 3-0 to West Ham in their last home game. All those games came late in the day. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Sunderland follow a similar template there. Take the sting out of the City ground, because it will be bouncing in there. It always is. Take the sting out of the game, dig in, keep it tight, and then look to hit maybe late on in the game. They ground out a point which I thought was impressive against Aston Villa with 10 men for much of that game, over an hour, with 2 goals in the second half from Villa and from Sunderland. Only 1 defeat in 5 as well. They've gone to Crystal Palace and got a 0-0 draw there, which I think is, again, another template that could well do their last away game. They've recruited well, and what I like about their recruitment going against Forest is big, tall and strong players, and that will be important against Forest. And how many goals have they conceded in the first half so far? In fact, how many goals have there been in their first half so far across the whole season? 0.
Right.
First goals came in the 61st minute, the 47th minute, the 77th minute, not at all, and the 67th minute. Unsustainable, someone would say.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take it to continue in this one.
Yeah, thankfully he's not here to say that, because I'm on your side, and I think it could be. I think it'll be 0-0 at half time, to be honest. And given that, I think I have to go higher. And much like yourself, Jack, I've been very impressed with Sunderland. Yeah. I think they did a great job against Villa, even when they went down to 10. Because obviously this was the bet last week, and when they went down to 10, I was thinking, this is very typical. But no, they hung on there. and yeah, scored to get the draw 1-1. So higher for Jack and I, lower for Leon here. Heading to London then for Spurs versus Wolves. Now this is quite a high line here. We're going to the supremacy market, which is the amount of goals the favourite beats the underdog by. Tottenham are the favourites here over Wolves. 1.2 is the midpoint, so you need Tottenham to win by 2 or more for a higher win, or Tottenham to win by 1, Wolves to win, or a draw for lower. So quite a lot in lower's favour, but let's see what you guys will do and what I'll do. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Oh,
Look at that.
wow,
It's a high line,
not
but
all.
we're all in agreement that Tottenham are going to wipe the floor with Wolves here.
Yeah, I think they will. I think they will. Despite that draw last week, Thomas Frank said it was their most complete performance of the season. Obviously liked what he saw, so that's good enough for me. I liked how Thomas Frank's come in and implemented his plans from the get-go. Quite often we see managers say, oh, yeah, they've got to take time to implement it. We've seen managers going into sides 6 months down the line and still saying they're not been able to quite mould that side. But you can see Thomas Frank's fingerprints on this side already. Very much different from the Ange Postecoglou Spurs that we saw last season. 10 points from 5 games is a really solid start. And the key thing for me is 2-3-0 wins against sides I think are similar to Wolves or as bad as Wolves, Burnley and West Ham. So for that looks really good. They've also got an insanely good record against sides that they're playing who are bottom of the table. They've won 12 of their last 15 such games. So I'm going to take that to continue. They've got good firepower. Wolves have conceded 12 goals this season. That's the second worst in the Premier League and the 4th worst expected goals against. And I think Spurs at home have got to say the firepower to take advantage of that.
Yeah. Liam?
Yeah, in agreement. I think Bournemouth are going to take points away from top teams this season. That's going to happen. So I think you can scratch through that game. I think there's competitions for places in attack at Spurs, which keeps all of those attackers on their toes. There's Champions League football to come, which means players like Simons and Richarlison all have to prove themselves in every game. They can't take their foot off the gas. Wolves just conceded 3 to Leeds at home. I can't back Tottenham not to put 2 or 3 past Wolves here. So yeah, buying the supremacy line. Yeah,
make no mistake here. Wolves are terrible currently, like really, really, really bad. No points so far. Rock bottom of the Premier League. They'll be desperate for their first point. I can't see them getting anything here. And I think Tottenham could put a few past them, much like the 2 games that you mentioned. And simply put, I think this is one of the best attacks in the league versus one of the worst defences. And Tottenham, I know they need to win by 2 or more, which is quite a tough call, but I don't think it is against Wolves. So Tottenham to basically have it all their own way for me this weekend and get a big win against Wolves. 2 more then before we get into our naps. Arguably the game of the week, up in Newcastle. Newcastle versus Arsenal. We're going for the total goals market here, which is at 2.6. Again, this is just simply the amount of goals scored in the game by either team. 2.6 is a midpoint, 2.5 to sell, 2.7 to buy. 3, 2, 1. Oh, there we go. All in on the lower. Leon, take it away.
Well, you said the best game of the weekend. I think it could be the worst game of the weekend if Arteta wants to play every single midfielder that he has at his disposal again. I think we could see a 0-0, 1-0 to either team. He's still working out what his attacking midfield blend is, the best one that he has at his disposal. I don't think he really knows where Eze fits in this team yet. Gyökeres, I don't trust him in the Prem to score goals yet. And Newcastle just haven't been in great form. I don't think their attack's settled. I think Arteta will be going for a 1-0 here. That'll be the plan. He's struggled here. The goal line has only gone over 2.5 once in the last 8 head-to-heads at St James's Park. Yeah, and like I said before, I can see it 1-0 either side or 1-1 at the most.
Yeah, fair enough. I couldn't agree more. I think Newcastle really are showing signs of a hangover after losing Isak. They've only scored 3 goals in the Premier League this season. And we've got 2 teams here that boast 2 of, if not the 2 best defences in the league. So I don't really look at this matchup and think, oh, there'll be loads of goals there. Similar to you, I think Gyökeres is going to score loads of goals against some of the poorer teams. I'm not the first person to say that, I'm sure. And I just think the Newcastle defence will probably be too good for him to have a field day. So I think, similar to you, Leon, I think this has probably got 1-0 Arsenal written all over it.
Yeah, virtually the same sentiments, to be fair. I think Gyökeres will not get a sniff against this Newcastle side. He's the kind of perfect player for the likes of Dan Burn, Fabian Schär to come up against. And Newcastle are just integrating that new front line. Obviously, they've been missing Gordon, who's been suspended on his back for this one. But I think a big loss for them has been the fact that they've not been playing Jacob Murphy. He was one of their most creative players last season. And obviously with the new signings, he's been kind of phased out of the side a little bit. And of course, Votemodder has got to come in and try and get himself established in the Premier League. So I think going forward, they're going to be disjointed. And Arsenal, Madueke out injured as well. Saka back probably before they want to actually be playing him. Issues who's best out on that left-hand side. And so I think Gyökeres will be snuffed out here. So it does limit the chances. Would it be surprising if one or the other side score from a set piece? I'm with you. I think 1-0 either way would not be the biggest surprise at all. Or it could be a third 0-0 of the season for Newcastle. They've been there, done it before. We'll have that again.
Yeah, for sure. I think it must also be playing on Arteta's mind. Like they can't really afford to lose here already. They're already a little bit off the pace in the title race. And if they start to drop down or if the gap widens, I think it could get a bit ugly for Arteta. And
could they go into this? It's 8 points off Liverpool if Liverpool go and win it on Saturday.
Yeah. They're 5 points behind currently. Yeah. And that's a big gap already at this point in the season. So I think they will be going, not necessarily defensive minded, but they will be cautious, I think. So yeah, I think it's lower all round for us anyway. Final game then before the naps. We're heading up to Merseyside for Everton versus West Ham. West Ham in terrible form. Everton looking okay, but were defeated against Liverpool last weekend. We're dipping into the supremacy market, and we've got Everton 0.7 goal favourites over West Ham. So an Everton win is a buy, will be the higher paddle. A West Ham win or draw would be the lower paddle, or a sell with spread X. What are we going for here then, guys? 3, 2, 1. Oh, look at this. Nice and friendly, isn't it?
It ended that way, didn't it?
Ended all of us agreeing that Everton will beat West Ham here. The way that I see this is you've got two teams in completely different trajectories. You've got West Ham, who are down and out. Potter rumoured to be going, whether they win here or not, regardless of the results. What kind of motivation is that for a manager or for a West Ham team? You've got Everton, who seem to be on the up. And I know they were beaten by Liverpool, but I think they'll be quite positive with their performance there. I thought they were a little bit unlucky. They did concede the 2 big chances. But they looked probably the better side in the back end of that game. And they just look, we said it multiple times already this season, they just look way better going forward. And I think they can cause this West Ham side so many problems. A West Ham side that are down on confidence. And yeah, the end isn't in sight for me. I think they're just looking really, really bleak. What about you, Jack?
Yeah, I think this is a big game for David Moyes because obviously it's against his former club, first of all. But Everton fans weren't too happy with his team selection against Wolves during the week. He rotated quite a few out. I think they fancied a little bit of a run in the cup against the side. We've already talked about how bad Wolves are. And his big guns weren't playing. So that's put a bit of pressure, if not a lot of pressure, on him to go and get a positive result and a good win here against West Ham, who are something of a whipping boy this season. That freak result against Forest aside, they've been terrible. And one area Everton are super strong is in set pieces, aerial balls into the box, and West Ham are truly horrific at defending them. We've talked about it. I've talked about it on the show already, trying to earmark that as an avenue of attack. And I think while Graham Potter's in charge, that's going to persist. So expect Everton to exploit that with their set pieces in, and the likes of Ndiaye. I think they've got too much in those forward areas for a West Ham side. They look horrific defensively, conceded the most goals, with 13 across the season so far, conceded the most headed attempts, conceded the most big chances. Everything underlying the actual stats of conceding goals stacks up to it. So yeah, for me, Everton all day long.
Nice. Everton headed goal minutes, 25 to buy. Might be one to earmark based on what you've just said there, Jack.
Everyone, central defenders, go for it.
Load up. Go for it. Leon, anything to add then?
Well, I think if you look at Everton, they've just gone winless in 3 after winning 3 on the bounce, but this is the team that you want to play. I didn't know those rumours about Potter leaving regardless, but like you said, what motivation as a player do you have when you know your manager's going, especially if you want him to go? And Everton, I don't think it's the place you want to go on a Monday night if you're on the away side, especially if that new ground is bouncing. I think that front 3 behind the attacker of Ndiaye, Dewsbury Hall and Grealish can cause anyone problems, and I just think they win here. I think it's a high line still. I don't think Everton are at a point where I really confidently want to be backing them to beat teams, but West Ham are poor, and I think they will get a 1-0 win, a 1 or 2-0 win.
Nice. Right, that's it then for the main markets. Before we go, we'll go into the naps. Leon, I'll start with you. What is your best bet this weekend?
Well, I'm biased because I'm a Chelsea fan, so I've gone for the Chelsea game, and I'm biased because I was at this game last year, and by the time it got to the 32nd and a half minute last year, Cole Palmer had a hat-trick. And this year, I'm going to be selling Chelsea Brighton first goal minutes at 32 and a half. 11 goals in these teams' last 2 head-to-heads. And like I said, 3 goals before the 32nd last week. We looked shocking against Lincoln midweek. And if we look shocking against Lincoln with nearly a first-team defence, with Cucurella and James maybe in there, but the centre-backs will probably stay the same. I think Brighton can cause us issues. I think they're a good team going forward. And I think that one of these teams will score before the 32nd confidently.
Very nice. Well, I hope for your sake that it's Chelsea. But
yeah.
We shall see. Jack, you next.
Yeah, I'm going with multi-bookings. Going back to the Brentford versus Manchester United game, the early kick-off on Saturday. The midpoint is 385. I'm going lower than that. Yeah. So anyone not used to the multi-bookings market, it is basically the first half bookings multiplied by the second half bookings. So the key element here is if we can get a 0 in that first half, it doesn't matter what happens in the second half, we settle at 0 and we get the max win. Of course, be careful because this could unravel. The Man United game for Chelsea, just to let everyone know, settled at 2,800 points. Yeah. Bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. So with your losses. However, you've got two sides here that Brentford ranked 11th for cards, Man United ranked 20th in the division. So very good performances disciplinary-wise for both those sides. Brentford's games have settled at 0-0-0, 600 and 400. Man United's 400, 100, 0-0, 2,800. Been 0 first-half cards in 3 Brentford games and in 2, including the derby against Manchester City. And the referee is Craig Pawson, a good referee. He's got the second lowest cards per game average this season, averaging just shown 5 yellows and 1 red. But his games have settled at 350, 200 and 0. So early kick-off, bit of a slow burner. I'm hoping that we can get through to half-time, card-free, and then we're home and hosed. So lower, 385 the midpoint.
Very nice. I'm going to Stockport, where they host my beloved Reading FC this weekend. And it sort of pains me, so I've avoided taking the supremacy market, but just between us, I think you probably should back Stockport here at 0.7. And I'm going for total goals at 2.65. Reading have conceded in all of their away games in all competitions this season, conceded 10 on the road in their last 4 and scored 6. But Reading's away form, as it has been over the last few seasons, is dire. Stockport look pretty good. One of the better sides in the league for sure. And both games between these two sides last season, 4-1 at Stockport and 3-1 at the Madstad. I think this makes up at least 3, and I unfortunately think Stockport could run right here and maybe even make up the 3 themselves. And if Reading can score, that's a nice little win for me here. So I'm looking for a consolation win to sort of wipe away my tears from Reading being very poor. Also, this could well be Noel Hunt's last chance saloon as Reading manager, as calls for his head are ramping up. So, yeah, one to watch regardless of which pick you're going for here. I'm sure everyone that's listening will be really as keen as I am to watch that game. But that's it for this week. Thanks very much, Jack and Leon, for joining me. A fantastic weekend of sport we've got ahead of us. Not only the football that we've talked about, but the Ryder Cup and loads more action across various different sports. So do check out oddschecker for all of your fixed odds needs. Have a look at who scored if you're looking for some stats to back up your betting or even just your chats with your mates over the weekend. And don't forget to check out SpreadX and Sporting Index for all of your spread betting and fixed odds needs. And if you haven't got an account with either of those, definitely go have a look at what they've got to offer. It'll be worth your while, as I say, ahead of a fantastic weekend of sports. And don't forget, with spread betting, losses can exceed deposits. Enjoy the sport this weekend and please gamble responsibly.